Did it go? Are we going live or what?
Says we're live.
Great, my
No
internet.
music.
No music, nothing. It's
Hi, kids.
go live and play intro. Is my internet going to mess up tonight? Oh, this is great. I don't even know.
There was some issues earlier on StreamYard with playing video, I know. So that might be what's going on. So, yeah. We are live, though. So,
we are. Okay, we are live. It's not. Yeah. It's still saying like, oh, there it goes.
No, it says, yeah, I see us live and I can hear us. And
yeah. Brian says no intro. No, I guess that's StreamYard for us. It didn't play. It's like I didn't even realize we were live till like it clicked in just now. So we are live. Welcome. Hopefully this can be a show where we can actually, talk unlike last week. Yes, I think we may have to create a new emoji there. But welcome everybody to the Physical Media Show here live on FanZcene. I am Greg, and with me tonight, as always, is Tom, and I will, yeah. And so let's go ahead and say hi to the chat real quick, and then we'll get into everything. We have Brian Barth, as always. Hail to you, Brian Barth. Ola Ace Hanlon. Is the French Connection still censored? Only on streaming, as far as I know. The Blu-ray is still uncensored. I think all the streaming versions are still censored, as far as I know. What is up? Trevor Maurer says, hi, everybody from Aussie Land. Hope this goes through uncensored. I hope so, too, as well. Right. Yeah, Australia, man. Their government is crazy. What is up, Random Brad? Another Aussie. Glad to have you with us. Hello there. Let's see. We have Doba Fett. Howdy to you, Doba Fett. Glad to see you in the chat. FKHC 2005. Hell to you. Glad to see you with us as well. Hell to you, Dragonzilla. Glad to see you out there. And we have Psycho Not Your Daddy, which I do like that name. Howdy to you. Glad to see you with us tonight. Let's see. What do we have? We have Cowabunga Dude. What's up to you? And good evening to you, Tyrell72. Glad to have you with us. Yeah, it's insane. I think we're caught up there, but welcome to everybody out in the chat and everybody at home watching. Make sure you guys share out the link and hit the like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I hope you enjoy some physical media chat with us tonight. So I know we did get a couple announcements of like Wayne's World 2 is coming to 4K from Kino Lorber, and also Kingpin. Can you hear me?
Excellent.
Oh.
I know that was Bill and Ted, but yeah.
Yeah. You had me worried there for a minute because I was like, oh no, he cut it out again. But yes, we do have King. I saw Kingpin is also coming to, I believe, in 4K from Kino Lorber. And I saw that we were getting,
that's an oddball because that's a Fox title.
I know, isn't that weird? I mean, Disney and Fox, that's Kino. That's crazy.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I did see the movie A Knight's Tale with what's his name? I can't think of his name right now. Is getting a 4K steelbook coming soon. I saw that.
I'm wrong. It's Paramount. I'm wrong. It was Paramount.
Paramount? Okay.
But all the other Farrelly movies are Fox, except for the Dumb and Dumber ones in that one, I guess.
Huh. Go figure. That's weird. When was it on when was it on Max?
I was gonna say I think it was only censored on the Criterion Channel streaming network. Okay. Which means, like, and honestly, I don't know if they ever got an answer to that. I wonder if, I don't know who did that or who would have done that. Like, I wonder if it wasn't, because the way it cuts, it's like, it's kind of like that ooh la la bit in Back to the Future. It just seems weird. It almost makes you wonder. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they tried to say it was approved on it, but I don't buy that. I just don't.
No way he would allow that.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Yeah. Don't buy it.
He would recut it or do the TV version or something like that, which is funny because I don't even think they had to change that for the TV version until much later.
Yeah.
But that being said, no, I wonder, and this is my hunch. I start to wonder about this because I notice these anomalies.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder if they're not testing out some kind of software to where, like on these streaming services, to where if you turn on like a family-friendly software, no matter what you show, it will cut around objectionable things.
It's true.
Does that make sense?
I think you're very close to that. That does make sense because I actually talked to
Because of how wonky it is.
Yeah, there is a thing they do after talking to the Brooks Davis who works for Full Moon, because like some of the Full Moon stuff has been pulled from Amazon because of the racier content. And what he said is like the way they have like that next to certain titles, like especially with the popularity wise. So like if a kid is scrolling through it and you see like the Puppet Master movie next to like say Toy Story, that's when the streaming services get a little nervous and they actually manipulate that to move them away, or they straight ask the people to we're going to yoink it or you got to censor it so that these kids don't click on them. So that's sort of a thing they do, from what I understand, from what I've heard from the Full Moon people at least. What's up, Anthony Draven? Glad to see you with us as well. Yes, and from what we're hearing is it looks like both Crocodile Dundee 1 and 2 will be censored in the new 4K releases.
How did you get a 4K version of those and they don't even exist?
Yeah, I want to know how that. Yeah, Boba Fett, how did you do that?
Unless somebody did a scan of the film, but I didn't know there was any out there. Yeah. Even then, it's still going to be secondary.
Mm-hmm.
The old Blu-rays would still be better, probably.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that, how they could be 4K. Unless they're just up-converted.
Yeah, I'd be curious about that. But I'm trying to remember what else we had here, what else I saw, and what else there was.
Shout had a handful.
Like
a blaxploitation box set, which has like Coffee and a bunch of other ones in it. What Lies Beneath, which is one I think that's been rumored for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one they did? There was another title I'm missing.
There was, yeah. What was I think I saw that. What Lies Beneath, and then
yeah. There's one more. I swear. Oh yeah, Scent of a Woman. Here we go.
Oh yeah, Scent of a Woman. I saw that on 4K. I'm actually kind of looking forward to getting that because I haven't watched it I don't own it and I haven't watched that in years, but it was a good movie. So that'll be a nice little purchase.
And the physical media guy is rumoring that Superman original series with George Reeves and Lois and Clark will be coming to Blu-ray, which I hope are true because it'd be about damn time.
Yeah.
Lois and Clark has been in HD on Max for a while. Now, hopefully they fix it because I guess there's a few issues with it. In fact, more than a few. Script Doctor actually made a list.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Of all the issues with it. So and some of it are even like unfinished visual effects and stuff that they didn't finish for the
Jeez.
Yeah. So we'll see if they fix that. And I think some sound issues and missing sound effects and some other things.
I hope they do fix it.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't expect them to, but we'll see.
Yeah, because I know for some people out there and whatnot, the Lois and Clark DVDs and the Adventures of Superman DVDs are on the Warner Brothers disc rot list.
And they're probably one of the more wanted ones too, I bet.
I wonder if they'll ever do the Kirk Allen Superman serials.
They've had them in DVD, and those DVDs look like they're from HD scans, but that's the thing is all these old scans are from forever ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be nice if they rescan them and brought them out. I mean, those might even be public domain by this point. I'm not sure on that.
That's crazy. I got the DVD set, but once again, I mean, it's Russian roulette because not all those DVDs are rotting, but if you got the ones from that factory.
I still got a bunch that are still in plastic because I got all the old George Reeves ones as they came out. And I only opened like the first one or two seasons. And I never got through them all yet. So I was like, well, shit, I hope they all work. But okay, so what's in the blaxploitation box set? Across 110th Street, Black Caesar, Hell Up in Harlem, Coffee, Sheba Baby, and Trucker and Truck Turner. That's it.
Oh.
There you go.
They got
again, Shit Factory, but yeah.
Yeah. So there's like the Pam Grier ones and stuff.
Coffee, I think, has her. I don't know if she's in how
Yeah,
many of the other ones
I
she's
remember
in.
her being in Coffee. Yeah.
She's probably in a couple of the other ones, but I'm not 100% sure which ones. I've only seen a couple of those, actually. Those aren't actually some of the more well-known ones besides Coffee, and a couple of them are, I guess, but not the more well-known ones. But wasn't there a couple from Arrow too, or was that last week?
We got that. I think we talked about them because they were going to announce them the Friday after the show.
Oh yeah. So what did they announce?
So they did announce
the Friday the 13th, Jason X and Jason Goes to Hell.
And Jason Goes to Hell on 4K. What was the other ones? I think that was like the biggest of the titles that they announced out of it. I know there was a couple more, but I can't quite remember.
That was like one of their worst kept secrets ever.
Yeah, it was. Like everybody knew those were coming. I'm trying to. Okay, here. Oh, they got For a Few Dollars More is coming to 4K.
We already knew about those too.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of this shit is new.
And then
fuck Arrow.
Yeah, exactly. And then Andromeda Strain, 4K is coming. Steppenwolf on Blu-ray, it looks like, and I can't see what this other movie.
They got Dressed to Kill here too, so that they must be doing that was different, but I don't think that's it. Yeah, Steppenwolf, Andromeda Strain, Never Walk Alone, I think is the other one.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, if you want them, yeah, they are coming. The new, if you really want them.
You know who's bringing them out?
Who's bringing them out?
Our buddies over at Mill Creek.
Yeah, well, that's a natural fit then.
I knew you'd love it.
Subpar Pure Trash being released by a Subpar Pure Trash company.
And their website still looks as bad as when they revamped it the last time. It has not changed.
I still will take credit for us making them change it.
I still think we did. Yeah, because all of a sudden it was like, what the fuck? All of a sudden, they changed it.
It did not look like this. I can't. You go back to like, I don't know what apps. Like,
you have that somewhere, wherever it was, one of our earlier shows.
It's like really in the beginning, maybe the 10th episode or so, around there. You can see.
Yeah, that I showed up to. Yeah. Because like, and then we went back to it, and all of a sudden they're like, "Wait a minute, they changed this whole goddamn thing." Like, because before it showed like this warehouse that you could tell was probably like some fake warehouse. It might not even be theirs, like some Photoshop deal. And it's like, yeah. It looked real cheap and chintzy, that was for sure.
Bad. Yes, Mill Creek does put out some good stuff, but
they've gotten better. I will give them credit.
They did. They set up their game a little bit, like the Street Fighter and everything and stuff.
Well, not just that, but I like their. I got to give them a little bit of props for the retro VHS slip covers.
Yeah, I do like this.
They have the world's worst covers, though. Otherwise, underneath those slip covers, like whoever does that job, no offense, but. Damn, you're like giving Warner Brothers a run for their money. They're worse. They're still worse.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah.
Like, I love Mill Creek. You want to know why I love Mill Creek? They give you that kind of feeling that you used to get when you'd run into a Good Times or Video Treasures. Or
hey, sometimes they're just at the mercy of the scan to get. But yeah, they do release a lot of great TV series.
They used to be a lot worse. Like they used to release. They never had Dolby Digital, or they would only be in Dolby Digital, like really low bit rate and stuff like that. Now they've actually, and they would sometimes only just be in stereo, instead of 5.1. Like, so they've gotten better on that grounds. They're never as bad as some of the Olive titles, though. So, and Olive was always expensive, regardless. Like, at least that's one thing with Mill Creek is they're cheap. The only other thing I don't like is they compress a lot of stuff sometimes. So like when you buy like a lot of their TV series and stuff, they're like, it's like, okay, it's already shit quality, and then you're compressing it even more.
Yeah, it's true. But you gotta love Mill Creek. I mean,
well, Trevor, it's funny you mentioned the I Dream of Jeannie set, because that's one that actually has some give and take on it. Let's say. In fact, from what I've heard from the reviews, because I have obviously not gotten through it all, Like as you get into the later seasons, I guess they start compressing more of the shows, and you can tell. So
yeah,
so they can cram more on discs.
Yeah.
That's like I got the Married with Children. I mean, they got like 10 episodes crammed on each one of those because I watch the Hondo episode trying to find that. And that's the only other complaint I have with them when they do that is they throw them in those little fucking
sleeves.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God.
Things.
But it's cost effective for them, and I guess they make a ton of money on those. So
yeah, I mean, that is one of the reasons why they are cheap, because like they just less packaging, less money you the consumer spend. So
I will give them credit; they do a pretty good job when they jump up to Blu-ray with their TV shows. Like I've got their sets for like Magnum PI, and you're right. That Dream of Genie set is actually pretty good, especially for the price. So I mean, in Miami Vice, they did a good job on that one. So like, I mean, yeah, they do a good job. I got like also, what's the one with what's his face who was oh shit, the bail bondsman guy or whatever he is. He investigates. Ah shit. I can sing you the theme song, but it doesn't have any words.
Oh, I know that. What do I know that? Oh, is that Barney Miller?
No, but close.
It sounded like Barney Miller a little
Every
bit.
episode it starts, and on his answering machine, it's what's his face from Maverick.
Rockford Files.
Rockford Files, yes. Thank you. God. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is it called? And I can't even think of his name now.
James Garner.
James Garner, yeah.
Funny, I was thinking about just what I haven't brought it on, but I was thinking about watching Support Your Local Sheriff.
There you go.
So that's a great movie.
When I got like the A-Team one and a couple of the other ones too, I haven't dug into yet. But yeah, the Quantum Leap one they did pretty good on. So they've gotten better. I'll give them credit. I'll give them some credit.
Yeah. I swear that sounded like the Barney Miller theme song. I was like, what?
Barney Miller's boom.
Yeah, boom. That's right. Yeah. Oh, that one guy, man. Like the dude with the glasses who replaced Fish. I can't think of his name. But he was like breaking the fourth wall before anything. Because like if you go back and you watch when when he became part of the cast,
but how else are you going to replace him at that point? That was the only way I think they could.
Because you can't replace Fish, and then his show got canceled. But like if you go back and watch the intro, like everybody they're like doing their job and just sitting at their desk and everything, and like says their name, but when it comes to him, he actually looks at the camera, smiles, and winks, and because like he knows he's on the TV show where everybody else is like doing their thing. So you watch because like he's very self-aware of everything.
It's been years since I've seen Barney Miller, but I used to watch that all the time on TV. That's when I wish. I'm trying to remember, was that shot on video or was that shot on film? I think that was shot on film.
It might have been.
Because they didn't start, I think All in the Family was one of the first ones they started shooting on video. That and, what else? Because it's right around that period they started shooting on video. No, so there's a lot of great shows in the 70s yet that are on Blu-ray and can be in HD. So Night Court, sadly, I think was shot on video, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yes, and Reinhold Wedge did work on Barney Miller before Night Court. A lot of the same people that were on Barney Miller ended up on Night Court.
That's true.
Like a lot of the background guests and everything.
But anyhow, that being said, we got movies to talk about. Was there any other releases? I don't think there was.
I think that was it. I think
that was the big stuff, I think.
Yeah, I think we had a little Mill Creek chat there, which we haven't done in a long time.
Yeah, actually. I was going to say we needed to do a little Mill Creek and go back to the creek. Knight's Tale. Knight's Tale. We missed Knight's Tale.
Yeah, Knight's Tale on 4K Steelbook, which I'm actually kind of excited. I like that. I know not everybody does, but I do like it.
I understand why some people are, and I understand most of them are women, but
yes. Yeah, hey. I know it's a women love movie, but I don't know. There's just something goofy about that. Outside of the stupid music choices, because I know they use like real music, David Bowie and Queen and all that.
Yeah,
there's just something goofy about that movie.
I didn't have a problem with that part until the audience started going. we will, and I'm like, oh, okay, now this is just too far. Because I didn't mind before, like, the Queen music, because that's, like, kind of giving it a little bit of a Highlander flavor, you know? So it's like, I was okay with that part of it. Like, okay, cool, you're doing, like, a rock and roll medieval story. That's fine, but that's because the characters in the movie aren't hearing the music.
Right. I don't know. I just find it, there's something cheesy and endearing about it to me. I don't know what it is, but yeah, but I understand.
Isn't that the movie where he invents Nikes?
Oh no, they put the check on his armor.
Yeah.
They put the Nike thing on his armor.
Something like that. I knew it was something. At that point, I was like, nope, fuck this. I'm out. Like that. I think that was where I stopped it.
I think that's why I like it, because it's just so absurd. It's stupid.
If I'd known that's what I was getting into, maybe if I rewatch it with fresh eyes, I might enjoy it now. Right? Like then I don't think I was expecting it to be that. Because like, speaking of breaking the fourth wall, that's basically what it did for me at that point. It's like, oh shit, I didn't know I walked into Airplane. You know, like, what the fuck is this? Like, I luckily it was on DVD and I didn't have to go anywhere, but still at that point. But
yeah.
Anyhow, that being said, that's the only one I think we missed. So
I think that was about it. All right, well, go ahead and start, since you got a little more than I do. We'll go ahead and start with you. So what do you got?
Well, sadly, we lost a great actor last week. Well, actually a few weeks ago, but found out about it last week. And so I figured it was time I revisited one that I remember not liking so much the first time I saw it years and 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 years ago. But this time checking it out, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It is an excellent HD or 4K HDR, whatever you want to call it. I would meant to say UHD, but upgrade from Sony. The Dolby Atmos on it is fucking amazeballs. Like, this has to be one of the better reference quality soundtracks I've heard in a while for an older film. And go ahead.
No, I was gonna say your camera's not on.
Yeah, because I haven't given away.
Oh, okay. I thought you.
The only problem I had with it is like, I'm like, this movie feels like it's cutscenes from a video game.
Oh, there you go. Quick and that. Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it feels like. It's like, all I'm missing is like where I pick up the controller and do the duel.
Well, yeah, that's kind of true, because they stand there and they.
It feels like a fucking video game. Like, it has that same kind of like, you know, slapdash kind of tongue-in-cheek, and of course everybody who's seen it knows what I'm talking about. Anybody who hasn't seen it, this film was directed by Sam Raimi, so it has his sense of humor and sensibilities and tone and action and cutting and characters and everything about it is very Sam Raimi. It's not really horrific per se, but it is very Sam Raimi. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's one of those films where this is what, you know, you want to see a strong female character. Here you fucking go.
Yeah. And it's Sharon Stone and she's hot. So
yeah. And it doesn't overpower her in any way. It doesn't make her a damsel in distress at all. I mean, even Russell Crowe, I mean, you almost don't need him in the movie. Like, he's almost kind of a side, like, because that's the part where the movie kind of gets a little more convoluted, is when they set up to where her and him got to fight each other at the end. Spoilers. And that whole bit is fun though. And it's a fun movie. And of course, Gene Hackman just chews the fucking scenery as he always does. Leonardo DiCaprio is actually pretty good for how young he is in it. I know this was one of his movies that really kind of catapulted him out. I mean, he was already kind of a star, but I mean, you know, but no, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can recommend it. I'm surprised that Sony hasn't revisited it with, because I don't think this has Dolby Vision, but it looks really good.
Give it time to get one of them still books. Like,
that's what I was thinking. Now that I've actually opened it and watched it, because this has been sitting on my shelf in plastic for God knows how long now.
Yep.
I didn't even get the slip cover though. That's what pisses me off. But
I could see them making that into one of those steelbook collectors, like they did with the Dracula.
Surprised they haven't already. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like this, and actually, isn't this the only one left that hasn't? Because Fifth Element got one, didn't it?
Yes, Fifth Element got one. Yeah,
I think this is one of the only ones left, besides maybe the Patriot. And there's probably still a good handful of earlier Sony ones, but this is one that I'm surprised hasn't, like you said, gotten a revisit so far yet. But yeah. No, it's a good flick, and I can recommend it.
I'm still wondering if anybody has spotted the car, Sam Raimi's car.
I forgot where it was supposed to be. I seen it somewhere where somebody said where it was at, and I totally spaced out. And I wasn't even paying attention this time.
I mean, it's a fun movie. You're right. It's got the Sam Raimi stuff. It's got a strong female lead. If I remember,
great fucking cast. I mean,
right, the whole cast, like Sharon.
Besides
Stone,
the ones we mentioned already, yeah. I mean, you got Michael Wincott in here. You got Lance Hendrickson, Lance Hendrickson, not Michael Wincott. That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Pat Hingle's in it. Gary Sinise is in it. I mean, it's just you even got Bruce Campbell hiding in there.
Yeah. There was a Gary from Pop Culture Minefield told me that Bruce Campbell told him a story. I can't remember what actor it was. One of the old actors, his daughter's getting messed with in the movie, and like he was like, Sam Raimi couldn't get him to do what he wanted to do, so they pulled the whole shimp routine on him, where Bruce Campbell came in, took a beating from the actor to make it look like he was sticking up for his daughter. Never filmed it. There was no film in the camera. They just did it to appease the actor so that he would think he had that in the cans. And then when Sam Raimi finished, he was just like, yeah, we got it, and then didn't even use it because he never filmed it. So yeah, that happened.
He does that to Bruce.
He does that to Bruce a lot. That's the shimp thing. I think Night Moves is actually coming out on Criterion here soon on Blu-ray, I believe. So if you're looking,
Kino has a lot of Gene's lesser known titles too. So check out what they have left. I don't know what's sold out anymore, but I mean they've even had stuff like Bat 21 and some other ones. So
yeah, they had some good ones.
And Twilight and the one I just brought on not too long ago with Kevin Costner, No Way Out.
Yeah, No Way Out. Yeah. Hello, Stacy. Yes, Darkman has a special edition from Scream Factory on new 4K Blu-ray. So if you want to pick that up, but
Steelbook too, I think it got.
Yeah, Steelbook, and a regular release.
I think that's what I got was the Steelbook.
Yeah.
But all right, yeah, no, I didn't have much else to say. I didn't really.
No, it's a good movie. I like the movie. It's good.
I hadn't seen it since it came out, so.
Matter of fact, I think my dad was just watching that a couple days ago, if I remember correctly. Speaking of which, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think it was actually on TV or something not too long ago because I remember somebody on Twitter saying something about it.
Yeah. Maybe that's when I walked in with my dad was doing. But my dad, guess what he was watching the other day? Speaking of which, before I get into there you go, the Darkman. There you go, Stacy. There you go, Darkman.
Shit Factory, but yeah.
Shit Factory. Hondo. My dad was watching Hondo the other day. So I'm watching it, and it was at the part where he threw the kid.
Did you ask him if he remembered it came out in 3D?
I told him that. He said, "Dude," I said, "Yeah." Did you know? He goes, "I didn't know that."
That was one of the last big 3D movies. And I read it said, thank God that the 2D version actually made money. Or it was one of the few that actually had a 2D version to go with it. Because a lot of those movies, I guess back then, the first round, they would only release them as 3D. So yeah.
I don't think a lot of people were clamoring to see a Western in 3D back in the day.
No. Well, I mean, there were a couple. But, I mean, this was John Wayne. This was a big deal. But it still doesn't explain why the rights issue was such a big thing. But I guess it's one of the movies John Wayne, I think, actually owned the rights to. So that was the other thing I was trying to figure out. Because every time I turn around, it's like, you got a John Wayne movie that comes out from Paramount, yet it was a Warner title. Then you got a John Wayne movie coming out on Warner, but it was a Paramount title. This happens all the fucking time, and I'm sitting here scratching my head trying to figure it out. I think it's just that John Wayne owns the rights to most of his movies.
Yeah.
Is my understanding. And so his son controls that, so it's whoever has whatever distribution deal for whatever movie, I guess. But yeah, I don't know what held Hondo back for so long, if it was just a reason or not. I don't know. But they made that joke about it in Married with Children. Like I said, I didn't realize that was a real thing until I read that, at that point, the movie had not been on television for like 17 years. It was although it was so well known, it was just one of the few John Wayne films that just, for some reason, just sat unshown. I don't know what else to tell you, but that's all I have.
Yeah.
Since then, of course, it's been readily available, but yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. That's weird. All right. Well, moving on to me, keeping it with Hackman and a great cast, by the way. I watched Get Shorty with Gene Hackman, Travolta, Danny DeVito, Rene Russo. I don't know why that's looking blurry. That's an older Blu-ray from MGM.
I was going to say, so that's not the 4K scan, then.
No, the this from 2011 is this one. So
yeah, I have the shit factory version. It's a Blu-ray, but it has the 4K scan, and I can't understand why we just haven't got a 4K of that yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
By now the scan's going to probably start looking like shit.
Probably. I mean, luckily this still has some pretty good features. I don't know what the Shout Factory one has compared to this one, but this one doesn't look too bad. But you can tell it's not like it's a 4K scan. It's clearly a 2K scan. But I think this is one of my favorite Hackman movies. Not like my all-time favorite, one of my favorite, because he's basically like playing Roger Corman. Hackman is basically playing Roger Corman in this movie, so that I love that performance as Harry Zim. And then John Travolta is actually one of his coolest roles, where he plays Chili Palmer. He's just like, look at me. I want you to look. No. I want you to look at me. It's just like this. And Rene Russo is great in this movie as like the B scream queen, that he falls in love with and stuff. It's got a great story. It's Elmore Leonard, based off an Elmore Leonard story. I'll be honest with you, I hated the sequel. I did not like the sequel. I don't even what's it called? Be Cool. I hated that one.
Well, when The Rock playing a gay dude is the best part of your movie,
right? It loses its flavor, and Hackman's not in it, and it's not as cool. It's like, I get it. The music industry is great and cool and all, but like there was something cool about the way they did it with the movie industry here. I don't know. I liked it. And Get Shorty was fun. Like I said, Hackman is great in this movie as like Harry Zim. And I love it when he's like, okay, Harry, I'm going to sit here. You bring him in and you don't say a word. Don't introduce me. Just, bring him in. And then everything he tells him not to do, Hackman does. He's like, oh, this is my associate, Chili Palmer. This is what we're going to do. This is so good. And then what's his name? Dennis Ferreira. Is that his name? Dennis Ferreira? Because it's got a great freaking
pretty
cast.
Sure.
Yeah, and James Gandolfini's in it, and Delroy Lindo's in it, and
God, I just thinking about how long it's been since I've seen this movie.
Oh man, it's such a good cast. I forgot about Gandolfini being in it when I was watching it, but
I don't know if it has anything new on this actually, other than just being a new 4K transfer, because it's a Shout Select. So that almost is I've realized what Shout Select means now. It means we're not going to do jack shit.
Yeah. Both the covers are hideous.
Yeah, that too. Well, they have on a few, but most of the time, because all you got is an audio commentary, Get Shorty, Look at Me, Get Shorty, Wise Guys and Dolls, Going Again, Get Shorty, Party Reel, Page to Screen to Get Shorty, Vignettes, Graveyard Scene, and Featurette and Trailer. I bet you that's all the same shit.
Everything you got is on mine.
Yeah. So the only difference is the transfer.
Yep.
So, and I got a subpar version of it here.
Yeah. So I guess you can get this one I have for like $10, $9.99.
Honestly, I think I got this on sale, to be honest with you. So
yeah, I know right now I think I don't know how much that costs right now, but
and this is number 51, so this has to be an older one. So I'm imagining we're getting close to Kino Lorber announcing they're going to do the 4K of this. Oops, probably wrong, but who knows?
Who knows?
Seems like they keep getting ones from MGM now.
Yeah, that's
Shit Factory's getting more shit lately.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they had some cool ones they just announced, but let's be real, those were nothing really to get all cuckoo about.
Mm-hmm. And that is true. I realized that too when I was watching the movie. This is its 30th anniversary. So I'm surprised we don't have a 4K for the 30th anniversary.
Might.
I mean, there's still time by the end of the year. So this is still the beginning of the year. So,
I mean, honestly, that Blu-ray that I just showed you there, I think that 4K scan was done before Amazon even bought MGM.
Yeah. So I would guess Amazon would have probably released the 4K unless they still got the rights there, but I doubt it. But no, it's a great movie. The plot of the movie is John Travolta plays Chili Palmer, who's he's a gangster. He's a Shylock. He's a bookkeeper, for the mob, everything down in Florida. He gets into it with Dennis Farina's character, and things happen. He ends up breaking Dennis Farina's nose, shooting him, parting his hair, and then all of a sudden the mob boss that runs Chili Palmer. The mob boss that runs Chili Palmer's organization dies. Dennis Farina takes it over. He wants him to track down this guy that's supposed to be dead who took some money because the book is, you got to pay his debt. So Chili goes off searching for this guy and ends up in Los Angeles because that's where he's at. Decides he no longer wants to work for the mob. He no wants to do him. He wants to get in the movies because he meets Harry Zim, played by Hackman, and Rene Russo. And, he gets mixed up with them and Danny DeVito, who's supposed to be like this A-list Oscar-winning caliber, like George Clooney type actor in the movie. And it's just whatever. So like they get mixed up with him, and then Delroy Lindo and James Gandolfini, they're trying to shake down Harry Zim, and they get into this whole like it's just like a little great story of like that all comes together and stuff. And Hackman is great in the movie. Travolta is great. Everybody's just like really on their game in this movie. And it's funny. It's cool. It's definitely due for a newer release, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah. But I figured, Hackman, with him passing away, I didn't want to bring on like some of the most obvious ones, and I was wanting to watch. Speaking of westerns, which I did not get to, I was going to watch Unforgiven, but time got away from me this week, so I did.
I thought about it, but I was like, I haven't seen Quick and the Dead, so I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Or I haven't seen it in a while. I mean,
yeah,
or watched the 4K yet. So,
but it happens. Hail, Steven, deleted scenes. Glad to have you with us. Why did Gene Hackman have to retire he was too? I mean, he was getting pretty old by that time, and I think he had done pretty much everything he could possibly do. So, I mean, the man deserves a little rest. Unfortunately, look what happened though, which is still kind of it's weird. It's all weird all around. So. It is strange. Yeah, watch Hoosiers. Hoosiers is great. Hoosiers is good.
I got that one too.
Yeah.
Still in plastic.
There you go.
Got it for nice $5.
$5. That's a good deal.
Just in time for it to come out on 4K.
It looks like who does Hoosiers?
MGM.
I was gonna say, look at the cover compared to it's like the same thing. They must have been like just like let's throw them up against a white background. See?
Well, that's that era, yeah.
Yeah, with blue writing, white background. Just throw it up there.
Yeah, MGM did have that kind of thing going.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
All right. Well, it's back to you. What do you got for us?
Well, on the Gene Hackman front, I watched. Finally, I've had this for a bit, but I got into the conversation. It, of course, has the movie in a cardboard thing here where it looks like tape reels for the Blu-ray and the 4K. And it's got a book and 2 posters and the soundtrack on cassette. And the tape is orange too.
I see that. Hey, that's nice. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, no, it's the movie itself is pretty good. It's about this guy who is a surveillance tech, and I think he's like a PI or he works for a private firm kind of thing, or his own private firm. Because he's not like into the government or anything like that, but he's working for a client, and he starts getting a little concerned with the conversation that is taking place on the tape because a situation went bad for him before where he didn't act upon something he heard and things went bad. And so he grows more and more paranoid, and things get a little stranger when he goes to turn over the tapes to the guy who commissioned him. And instead of the guy being there, it's Harrison Ford, this other guy who happens to work for him, instead. And he starts to freak out and doesn't want to give him the tapes and all that kind of stuff. And it just kind of snowballs from there. And it's kind of an intense film. It's kind of cool because it also predates like Watergate and all that kind of stuff, I guess, by a few years. It was written and directed by Francis Ford Coppola. The only thing that it just in that second act, about midway through the movie, it really starts to slog a bit. Like it meanders a little too much. It just could have used some tightening up, but otherwise, as it rolls into the ending, the third act starts to unravel, and the mystery of everything kind of unfolds, and it does a pretty good job. I don't want to give too much away, but no, it's just a interesting film. The sound design is amazing in it. Now, it's interesting because it was done in mono originally, and Walter Murch remixed it in surround sound back in 2000. And listening to the film in both versions, I'm like, how could this movie ever not been in stereo?
Right.
It's just the way it sounds and how important sound is to the movie. It just opens it up and broadens it, and you hear things in ways I feel like you're supposed to hear them in the first place, or they would have maybe had they had the money to mix it in stereo to begin with. Because I mean, it's obviously is an indie film put together by American Zoetrope and Coppola and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's the 4K scan looks all right. It's not like the best of Coppola's scans. I mean, it looks like an older film. He obviously didn't have all the negative for everything,
right?
Like he did for The Outsiders. It's basically in the same shape probably The Godfather's in, as far as that goes. Maybe a little better shape because it hasn't been used as many times. But no, yeah, it's a decent film with a really interesting cast. You got Cindy Williams, John Cazale's in it. Like I said, Harrison Ford's in it as well. It also, speaking of Godfather, it also has what's his face? The lawyer.
We're old, aren't we?
I know. I always start forgetting names.
It's forgetting everybody.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah, there you go, Robert Duvall.
So yeah, no, it's an interesting film. And like I said, if I know some people are very against remixed audio and stuff like that, but this is one of those movies that feels like it was made for surround sound, and that's a big part of the movie. It feels like the music, the surround sound, the aspects of it, how he plays with the tape and sound in the room and all that kind of stuff. It's just it feels like it's important to the movie. It almost feels like it should exist always. But yeah, that being said, I had to do the test.
Right.
So I did the test, and it almost works.
Enemy of the state.
It almost works. They even use a picture in this that is clearly from the conversation for his younger image.
Oh, really? They do?
Clearly. But the difference is they say that he worked for the government during the years that the conversation would have taken place.
Right.
So there's the only overlap that's something that's not quite right. Because otherwise, he would obviously changed his name, and his paranoia would have grown to that point. Because yeah, it feels like it's an obvious extension of the same character. If not, clearly it was inspired by that said character.
Right.
But no, if you haven't seen Enemy of the State before, what it's about is Will Smith gets wrapped up in this conspiracy about murder of a senator, in which one of his friends that he knew from college happened to get on videotape, and it gets passed on to him unbeknowingly, and he while he's also being wrapped up into this mob business at the same time, so he confuses one with the other, and it just sets him up for a huge bomb to blow up in his face and his family. And Gene Hackman, surprisingly, doesn't even come in until halfway into the movie.
Yeah.
And he's one of the more important characters of the film, because it becomes almost as much his story as it does Will Smith's story by the time you get into the story. Because he kind of takes the place of Elisa Bonet's character, who is kind of a former love interest, problem colleague of Will Smith's, and he was actually Gene Hackman was basically a father figure to her after her father had been killed, and because her and her father worked together, or his father and him worked together. Ugh. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then you got John Voight and a cast of just about everybody you could think of that was popular from the 90s and early 2000s working with him.
Yeah. they stacked
from
the
Jamie
cast
Kennedy to Jack Black to Scott Conn, and
I've not seen this probably since it's released, since I rented it back in the day. So, but I remember the cast. I remember Scott Conn. I remember Jamie Kinney. I remember
all
that.
the nerds are filled out with like I said, Jack Black. Who else is in there? There's a few of them that we all know. Like there's tons of them in this movie. Like
so
it's just like, holy shit, he's in this too. I forgot. Like, yeah, because it's been like 10, 15 years since I'd seen it. Or maybe not that long. And it's an older Blu-ray. It actually looks pretty good for its age. There's a lot of cross stitching or check boxing, whatever you want to call it. You know, that isn't necessarily digital noise, but it's just from being an older scan, you can tell the limitations of it. And me watching it on a big ass 4K TV. But most people would not notice that. Sounds pretty good. It's got uncompressed audio. It doesn't have DTS, but this is a movie that definitely needs a 4K upgrade. I mean, it's been long enough. Disney, get on it. Come on.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Do you think
Tony Scott directed, of course.
With his Hackman's passing and stuff, do you think we'll start getting some of these on 4K now like this and stuff?
Maybe. Wrong kid died. What?
No, kid died. I agree with you.
Yeah, Tony Scott at his best here, probably one of his best. I mean, even if you're not a big fan of Will Smith, this is one of those movies that people who don't even really like Will Smith like it.
It's because of the cast.
The cast, the production. I mean, you had Bruckheimer, and this is fresh off of him producing, you know, like The Rock and Armageddon and all those kind of movies. And I think this was the same year as Armageddon or the year after, if I'm not mistaken, because this is 98. So it's hard to believe how old this movie is. And how some of the technology is as advanced as it was for the time. The only thing in here that kind of made me chuckle, which was kind of funny, because like I'm like, what's scary about this movie is how much it predicted of not only the Patriot Act, but how much technology was going to be catching up to a lot of this shit. The only thing that kind of made me chuckle a little bit was when they were trying to do the 360 thing with his bag. And I'm like, you know what? And I'm like, that you couldn't do that. Yeah, maybe with AI, but even then it's still guessing. And then he turns around and says, can you spin it around 180 degrees or whatever? And he's like, well, it wouldn't be accurate, but the computer could guess. And I'm like, oh my God, he just predicted AI.
It is mind blowing when you watch certain movies like that.
It's like 99% of this movie could actually be real now. Like, fuck. The only thing it isn't is like how many. There's not as many landlines now. That's the only big difference, right? Like, and the internet is much more advanced, and cell phones are so much more advanced, right? So like, I mean, it's kind of quaint how what the hackers do with what they got now in comparison. It's just like, man, we are a little bit beyond that now, actually, which is scarier. But
that is because, like you watch, like you said, when you watch movies like that and you see, and you're like, okay, whatever. I don't think you could really do this. And then now you see them now, and you're like, holy crap, they were fortune tellers, and they've even gone beyond what they were doing in these movies that were supposed to be so high tech. It's just like, what? It's insane.
Yeah. Then you got Jake Busey and Jason Lee is in it as well.
Yeah, Jason Lee and Seth Green is in it.
Seth Green was the other one I was trying to think of the nerds. I'm like, God, there's another famous nerd in there too. Who was it? Yeah. Because they've got like fucking 10 sets of nerds. It's like, how many nerds can you shove in this movie?
They found like, everyone in Hollywood.
It's like, now if you wanted to remake Revenge of the Nerds, here's your cast in 1998. There you go.
There you go.
Seth Green could play the Lewis role or whatever. There you go. Or no, actually, Seth Green, you put him in the actually you make him play the because I was gonna say bring Justin Long in. You got to bring Justin Long in. He's got to play either Lewis.
He'd be Lewis, I think. Justin Long would
that's
be
what
Lewis.
I was thinking. Have him play Lewis, and then have Seth Green probably play the other one.
Yeah, you could do that. I almost see him as
Jack Black could play Booger. We'll let him play Booger. Or Jamie Kennedy.
Kennedy could have played Booger back in the day.
One of those two could have.
Yeah.
But Jack Black probably would have done it better, actually. Because Jamie Kennedy could have pulled off actually, you know what? I'd actually trade out Jamie Kennedy for Seth Green as the other lead. But that's just me personally.
Yeah, back in the day, maybe them two would have better chemistry. Yeah.
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 And actually,
go ahead.
I was going to say, even though I would probably reverse him, because you would think that it would work better as Jamie Kennedy in more of a Lewis role. And what's the name of the other one? I keep forgetting that. What's his face played? Now I'm forgetting both of the names. The doctor dude from ER.
Yeah. He was
Lewis and.
Hold Oh my God, what was his
Gilbert. Jesus fucking Christ.
Gilbert.
Yeah, have him play Gilbert. But yeah, anyway, we're recasting a movie now with people that are 50 years old. So never mind.
Like they couldn't even they can't play them now.
They're older than us, so yeah.
But
anyhow, no, it's a good film. It's fun, and I can recommend it. Just needs it would be nice if Disney revisit it with a 4K.
It would be. Maybe with their Sony deal, they'll get to hopefully, and with Hackman, gone now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it was kind of down on the list because of Will Smith for a while, but
yeah, because of him. But look who shows up in the chat here. The Rookie Critic for $5 says, "I shall return for a show sometime this month, possibly."
Thanks for the
threat. Thanks for the threat. So get ready, old timers. The Rookster is about to watch a movie. Do I have it on physical media? No, but I watched it on like Netflix or Tubi, and I have it over there at my sister's house.
I watched a movie. I saw Nosferatu at a friend's of a sister.
And also for $2, this one's for the chat for the Rookie Critic. Well, I do appreciate you, Rook, for both. So
what do you got up for us?
All right, so I don't know where to go for this because I don't know if I want to go to.
Well, that's it for my Gene Hackman. So
yeah, I don't have no more Gene Hackman, but I don't know if I want to go to like the technological side of the spear, or do I want to go to the cheesy bad B movie that I love?
You decide. Because I could go just about anywhere after that too, kind of.
I'll go with this one since I'm probably going to be talking about it tomorrow. All right, I just got this today. Yes, Monday. New release. It's Assault. This works actually. Assault of the Party Nerds. There we go. Assault of the Party Nerds.
Obvious Revenge of the Nerds ripoff. There you go.
Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh wow! I don't even have those.
Yeah, this comes from Culture Shock through TerraVision Records. It stars Richard Gabai, who wrote and directed both of them, which I will be talking to him tomorrow on my channel. Richard Gabai.
Look at you!
Yeah. I know the guy. I know him. But yeah, it stars Linnea Quigley, Michelle Bauer, the legendary B movie actresses. It comes with a 3-disc set. It's Part 1, Part 2, and the album soundtrack right here. This is CD. Newly reconstructed from the best film elements they had. It's not. I can't say it's the greatest because a lot of the film elements were lost back in the day because these were like straight to video movies and stuff. These are movies you would see on USA Up All Night. A matter of fact, Rhonda Shear is in the second movie. She was because he's good friends with Rhonda Shear, and he was on there. And actually, the special features contain the B- Movie Awards from USA Up All Night and the segment where Richard Gabai appeared on USA Up All Night. So yes, these are obvious Revenge of the Nerds ripoffs. That's why they were made. The first movie essentially it's this nerdy fraternity called the Lambda Delta Lambda Delta something. I can't remember. The Ada. Lambda Delta Ada is the fraternity. And so in order to go out their senior year, because there's only 4 of them in the fraternity, and in order to go out their senior year, they decide to throw a huge party to get everybody to come to make their mark on the college. And then across the way are where this goes a little further than Revenge of the Nerds, like the jocks and stuff who live in the fraternity across the street or whatever. They're gay. So and you don't know that at first until like their girlfriends walk in on them. So a lot of the stuff that happens in these movies you could not get away with today. Not at all. Not even a little. People would snub their noses at this movie. These movies cannot get away. But no, of course, it's filled with boobs. It's filled with cheesy acting. It's filled with goofiness. It's obviously like I said, Revenge of the Nerds ripoff. And then the second movie, it's 5 years later. The main star, Richard Gabai, is a detective now, and he's like investigating one of the jocks from the previous movie who's now married, and Burt Ward's in it and stuff, and he connects back to his fraternity, and they got to throw another party and stuff. So there you guys. I just got this from TerraVision. Just came out. This has actually been waiting for a long time. This is Late Night Classics Volume 2. So I have Late Night Classics Volume 1, which is Hot Under the Collar and Virgin High are the first two. So basically, this line of movies is for like sex comedies, teen comedies, from culture shock, outside of the norm that typically don't have releases and stuff and weren't typically taken care of a lot back in the day. So that's why I like that stuff. But I figured I didn't even think about it until I picked it up. I was like, oh yeah, we were just talking Revenge of the Nerds. So there, that works perfectly. And if you want to hear more about this, I will be talking to star writer director Richard Gabai tomorrow on my channel, doing a live interview at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So be prepared for that. But there you go. What do you mean, Tim? Their girlfriends walk in on the jocks, and they're doing gay stuff. That's yeah. That's what they're doing in the movie. So it's like a big surprise in the movie twist,
Yeah.
So
that's it.
But they're funny. They're funny movies. They're not. I can't say like you're not going to be blown away by these movies. These movies are not. These are movies. They're not Hackman level movies, but they're fun movies. If you grew up on USA Up All Night type movies, B movies and stuff like that, you'll have fun with them. You'll have fun.
I vaguely remember it from back in the day. It's been probably 35 years since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, these are like his most popular Richard.
I doubt I've even seen the second one, but yeah.
Yeah, they've been. Well, the thing is, like, they're very hard. They were very, very hard to find on the DVDs that they did release. I don't know how many freaking years ago. So this is like the first time, and they are shown in the 4:3 aspect ratio. Like I said, it's they didn't have the full on negatives, but they did the best they could with what they had, and they're pretty good. They're the best you're ever going to get. If you want them, this will probably be the only time you'll be able to get them. Yes, you got to say it right. Up All Night, which I also know Rhonda as well. Here and there, but there you guys have it. That was that. So if you're looking for a good time. Just something cheesy, something to get your mind off things.
Call 867-5309.
Jenny, I got your number. I want to make you mine. Now I'm going to be stuck in my head.
Yeah, I know, right? Speaking of music to get stuck in your head.
There you go. Great segue.
Amadeus. Amadeus. It finally showed up at my house 2 weeks fucking late. And I was really excited to see this because this is one of my favorites. Well, not my favorites, but it's definitely in the top probably 50 to 100 films I love. The only thing that had me concerned at first, I don't even know if you can read this here, but this was not actually remastered by Warner Brothers.
Oh, really?
No, it was remastered by the Solzance Company and the Lucas Family Foundation.
Oh.
So I was like, oh shit. How bad is this going to be? And it surprisingly looks okay.
I was going to say, because I saw Mid-Level Media. I didn't watch the video, but Mid-Level Media put out a video that said, keep your Blu-ray. So,
well, that's just because, it does not have the director's cut in any way, shape, or form on it.
Okay.
Not even with like they could have just put the Blu-ray in there with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they didn't. And honestly, then I think they wouldn't have had to carry over all the special features. But either way, because it looks like this is from the 40th anniversary of the making of Amadeus. Yeah, I think they're the same exact special features. Because I don't know if they even intend on releasing the director's cut in 4K, which is weird because I believe that this one was from a 4K master, because it actually looks pretty damn good. In fact, it looks so good that this is not as impressive as I thought it was going to be. It looks good, don't get me wrong, but this already looked so damn good that this was like, oh yeah, it's a little bump up.
Right.
It's like,
it's a little, yeah.
Because the director's cut was already taken from the negative, and I'm pretty sure they scanned it in 4 or 6K back then.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, and I think this time they scanned it, I think in 8 or 16K, I can't remember which.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's one of those movies where at the time that it came out, the limitations, it looks good. Yes, you can tell in some of the non-negative scenes they manipulated a little bit of it with some DNR, but as far as I could tell, I don't think there was any AI manipulation or anything like that. It's a fairly overall clean and natural looking picture. They didn't even really do much to the sound. My only big gripe would be they don't have the original stereo soundtrack on here for some reason, which, if I remember right, even won Academy Award. So it's like, how can you not have the original stereo surround mix? Like, the 5.1 is fine, but I like having the original stereo surround mix.
Typically, to be honest with you, it's the original sound mix sounds better for the most part sometimes.
Like the conversation's an exception.
Right.
I would love to have that debate with people, because that's a movie where I feel like the upgrade in the sound makes a huge fucking difference to the film. Because I tried watching it with the flat mono, and I'm just like, yeah, but you get no sense of the space. When you have it in 5.1, and that's where I think they made a big deal about Walter Murch was the one who re-edited it. It does have a sense of space, right? So like you're no matter where you're at in the room or whether you're listening outside or whatever they're doing, because sound's such a big part of the movie, it makes a big difference. Here, the movie already was in stereo, sounded great, already had a, I believe, award-winning soundtrack as it went back in 1984 when Dolby Surround was already pretty readily available. It didn't really need a massive upgrade, if any. But just to have that original there to have as a counter would be nice, since this is the first time the theatrical cut's been available since DVD, is my recollection. So,
yeah.
But that being said, which one do I prefer? I knew that was coming.
Yep. Which one? The theatrical.
I actually prefer the director's cut.
Oh.
I'm one of those rare people. I feel like the director's cut beefs up, and there's a few bits in the director's cut that are necessary. I don't care if it makes it R-rated, whatever. Plus, she's got a nice set of tits.
Now you're speaking my language, Tom.
And that's one of the major sequences. Is that? But otherwise, it is 20 minutes longer, too, on top of it all. And it just feels so nicely rounded at 3 hours. Like, I don't know why. I mean, the theatrical cut's good. It feels like a nice, hearty meal, but it feels like it's missing the dessert. Right. And that's what the director's cut feels like, is you finally got the dessert. Now, are you going to get a pretty good experience with the theatrical cut? Absolutely. I mean, that was the version I watched for many, 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 many years. But the director's cut for me was quite a new experience. And being that it's called the director's cut, I'd like to see where Milos Forman said he actually prefers the theatrical cut, because I've never actually seen it or heard him say it. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying.
Yeah, just you would like to see it. Yeah.
Why would you call the other one the director's cut?
Exactly.
Because I have this big thing with that. To me, it makes a big fucking difference in a deal, and people generally don't realize that for something to be technically called the director's cut, it should be a director's cut, or the director signs off on it, right? An extended cut or an unrated cut, those are two completely different things from a director's cut, in my opinion. And that's why I call bullshit on the Justice League director's cut, because he shot more shit for it. Same thing with his Rebel Moon director's cut.
Yeah, those kids
shot more shit for it.
Especially the Rebel Moon. I mean, like, he went in and he brought in new actors and everything, and it's like, what are you doing?
That's not a director's cut. That's a special edition, motherfucker.
Exactly. I never watched them, and I was like, that's the dumbest shit.
Even George Lucas didn't even have the audacity to call the final versions the director's cut, even though they technically are. I guess I could argue that. Fine. But even that's just the first one, because he didn't direct Empire and Jedi. So let's not even get into that can of worms. But look, I feel like they could have done everybody a service and just had both versions on here. Even if it took 2 discs, I'd have paid a little bit extra to have both versions in 4K.
Right.
I don't see why not. Especially if the original, or if the director's cut already exists in 4K, why not just plop it on a disc?
Right. Exactly. Why not? Thoughts on Tom?
Even if you didn't have DNR or anything, or I mean, HDR or anything on it, I would still take a flat 4K version of it. But anyhow, what were you saying?
No, I was Brian Barth here. What are your thoughts on Tom Hulse as Amadeus? Unexpected choice, beat out Mark Hamill, Tim Curry, Kenneth Branagh, and Mel Gibson.
I think Tim Curry would have been a little too old. I think he's perfect. I think he's brilliant in the role. It's his best, obviously, ever. I don't know. I can't picture anybody else in the role. I know Hamill played him on stage, I believe it was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't want Mark. I wouldn't have wanted Mark Hamill in it.
I mean, sometimes the right person gets the job. It doesn't necessarily need to be any of those name people. You know,
Not only that, that'd have been post accident, so he would have been all funky looking.
Yeah,
and there's no way I'd have believed that girls would have fawned over him.
It's true. It's just one of them things. Like it's just like how like Tom Selleck was almost Indiana Jones. It's just sometimes the right actor comes in and they're better than like the name actor at the time. So and it makes them a star and it gives them a performance. So you know it works.
And Boba Fett, that R rating is worth it.
Yeah, I mean we already heard why. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm glad you cleared up because I hadn't watched the mid-level media video. And it's like, oh, I was curious what your thoughts was going to be on Amadeus because I saw that and I was like, oh, what's Tom going to say? So I'm glad that
as far as I can tell, it looks fine.
Yeah.
So and it as far as I could tell from bopping back and forth a few times from the director's cut to this one, the color timing and everything is pretty much the same. Like I said, it hardly even a very unnoticeable difference. I mean, yes, there is a bit of a difference, obviously, but it's like very minimal in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, at least now it's out there, right? So
it's been out for some reason. It took Groove forever to get it to me, but yeah.
Yeah, that happened with my Nosferatu. Well, I got it on release day, but they said it was supposed to be early. But it did something that sort of happened with that. So
this is the first time I've ever had this happen. Besides the one time it got sent to a completely wrong address. Did I ever tell you that story?
Do you like it went to an abandoned place or something like that? I think you said.
It went. Well, no, I went to the like clear out in California, and the guy's like,
really?
It went to the end of the world or whatever. This guy sent it back to me. He's real nice. That reminds me, I should do something for him. But he's like, he sent it all to me on his own dime. He's like, and I'm like, I didn't even realize that they fucked it up because I was still waiting for it and finally showed up. So like, yeah.
Dang.
But otherwise, they're usually pretty good about getting me stuff.
Yeah.
Either pretty quick or like if I pre-order stuff, it's generally before it comes out.
Yeah. They're pretty good. It's like for whatever, like the one thing with my Nosferatu is somehow it went from Indiana to Texas, and then back to Indiana, then to me. So I don't know why. Don't know why. It just happened that day. But speaking of Groove, they do have Vic Fontaine. I don't know if he's in the chat or whatever. They do have a sale going on right now. You can get 4Ks for $39.99 around Groove. They're having a sale. So if you want to look into that.
I have most of them.
Right? There's a few I could probably get from them.
I was looking at it. I was thinking.
Yeah. It's good stuff. But I'm glad you liked Amadeus and it turned out good for you and that, you know, the 4K is good for everybody to pick up if you want to pick it up. Speaking of director's cut, if you're done with Amadeus.
Yeah, I got nothing else to really say. Because I brought the director's cut on not even a year ago?
Yeah, a little while back, but that's okay. That's the new rule here. That's I told you that. I don't know if I told the audience.
No, I know, but yeah, there's no reason in spreading it out any more than that.
Yeah, then that's the new rule here. We may look. I'm stuttering. We since we do have movies and we buy them to rewatch them, and sometimes we do want to rewatch the movies we actually bought. I made a new rule for myself, at least, and Tom can follow as well, or anybody else comes on the show. Is as long as it's been over a year since it's been on the channel, you can rewatch it and bring it back on. So you know, expect some rewatches, at least for me and probably Tom and whoever else.
Well, usually when I do that and I bring on like a new 4K version or whatever, I just generally just review mostly the 4K aspect.
Right. And it works that way too, especially if you get like a new 4K and you upgrade. So
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yes. All right. But speaking of director's cut, one I just watched here, I watched Dark City, directed by the Crow director, Alex Proyas. Am I saying his name right? Proyas? I don't know. Proyas. I don't know if you've seen Dark City before.
I seen it a long ass time ago.
It's okay. It's all right. I really enjoy this movie. This actually gets often credited as like a Matrix knockoff, but this was actually released before the Matrix.
Yeah, I remember
So
Ebert liked it a lot.
yes,
That's
he
why I
does.
saw it.
He's on here. Um, Now this contains the director's cut and the theatrical cut. Director's cut's the superior movie as far as I'm concerned. I think most people prefer the director's cut if I remember correctly, but the director's cut is the superior thing because this is a director's cut like you were just talking about, Tom, because I was glad you brought that up because Alex Proyas went back and he fixed, because like when the movie first came out, New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers told him, hey, can you add an opening narration to the movie to explain the movie? Because it's a mystery. It's a noir sci-fi mystery and everything. And so he added that in, and it really does explain pretty much the whole movie. When you just need to watch the movie, it explains everything by the end of the movie. And so they had him explain most of the movie in the beginning of the movie so people wouldn't be confused. So when he was given the opportunity to release this Blu-ray, he went back in. He took out the opening narration because that's like the biggest of big change in the director's cut. Took out the opening narration. He fixed the opening up a little bit, and he also went through and he recolor timed the movie. He fixed up some of the. He did fix up some of the CGI shots, and he added a few extra scenes and stuff and like that. So like the theatrical cuts paced a little bit better, but I think the director's cut's much better in the thing. For anybody that's curious what it is, I'll try to explain it without spoiling it because it is a movie that you do have to see to let it unfold. See, this is why I like movies like sort of like this, because this movie has to be unfold. You can't just go into it saying, "Oh, okay, so that's what's happening." It needs to be told. It's from '98. It's got the Phil. It's got the Phil the Crow to it. So if you like the Crow, it's got that.
Well, if I remember right, doesn't the opening narration kind of give away one of the twists?
Yeah, it explains like the big twist of the movie right off the bat. So he removed that because he never wanted that there in the first place. The Warner Brothers made him put it there. So so that's been removed, and he fixes the CGI and color timed it and added the scenes. Yes, and more than likely, see, that's what I was getting at. Dark City more than likely inspired the Matrix. People often say Dark City is a Matrix ripoff. No, this came out before the Matrix. And this probably helped inspire it a little bit. So like I said, I want to try to explain the story a little bit the best I can without spoiling it, and because it is a movie that needs to be watched and understood. So what's his name here? Kiefer Sutherland is this mysterious doctor. And Rufus Sewell, his character of John, oh my gosh, I can't think of his last name, and I just watched it. But anyways, his character wakes up in a bathtub with amnesia. And so he doesn't understand what's going on. He's contacted by Kiefer Sutherland's character as this doctor saying, I can help you. Come to me before they find you. And he starts being, Rufus Sewell's character starts being chased by these big, tall, like bald guys. It's sort of got that, like, the Men in Black type, bald Men in Black people. So like they start chasing him and everything. And, in the world they live in is like this very noir, like sort of old school 40s type world. And so he's got to discover who he is. He finds out he's married to Jennifer Connelly's character. William Hurt plays this detective who's investigating because like there's a murder mystery underneath of it where like somebody's murdering prostitutes and they think it's him because when he wakes up in the bathtub, there's a dead prostitute in the room where he's at. So
I hate it when that happens.
Don't you hate when that happens? You wake up with a dead prostitute. So like all this
happens every fucking time.
Every time. So like, he's being chased by them. William Hurt and the police are coming after him. He had a fight with his wife Jennifer Connelly. He doesn't know. He has no memory, and he seems to have these special powers where he can make things levitate and move and stuff like that. And he doesn't understand and what's going on. So it's a movie that really has to, you have to watch. Yes, it does. Jennifer Connelly is actually singing in her scenes because she's like a nightclub singer. Yeah, so I mean, especially when you're married to Jennifer Connelly, come on, man. But that's like, I don't want to go too far into the movie for it. Nobody's ever seen, because this movie is actually it was a flop. So like not a lot of people have really seen this movie. I would guess it's more popular amongst us in the nerd circles, like this, like the cuss and the physical media nerds and stuff. But no, I highly recommend this movie. If you've never seen Dark City, please do yourself a favor, watch Dark City, especially if you like The Crow and if you like The Matrix. I would say it's kind of a combination between The Crow and The Matrix, and it's not so much like where like people wake up out of the matrix and they're like discover that the world they're living in is a computer program, but it is so much like these people are in this world that's not supposed to be the world they're in. You know what I mean? And who are these bald people and what are they doing and everything? So I don't really want to spoil it and everything. Yeah, I would say it's a cult classic. It's a cult classic. So yeah, I don't want to spoil it for anything, but it's like you were talking about director's cut. This is a true director's cut because he was allowed to go in and fix the movie the way he originally intended it to be seen. And it wasn't like he was like changing the whole flow of the movie. He was just removing the narration, adding in a few scenes, and fixing the color timing. And he did the one thing he did do that was like sort of like George Lucas was he fixed the CGI. And I would say people would say, why don't we have a 4K of Dark City? If I'm honest with you, it's probably because of the CGI elements to this movie and how it was gone in and fixed. Because as you know, Tom, and as we know, yes, it was shot on film, but with the digital elements and the CGI of the 90s, how that was done back in the day. So, who knows?
Yeah, I'd heard some rumor that, like, yeah, that's one of the things holding it back, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What they can do about it. We'll see. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. But check it out. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. I think the director's cut's a superior cut of the film. You should just watch that. Just watch that one. As far as I'm concerned, just watch that one. But that's it. That's what I have. And I mean, it's great performances by everybody. Once again, another great cast. And it's a good sci-fi movie. And like I said, I'm a fan of The Crow. The Crow is one of my all-time favorite movies, and he sort of captures that feel of the world The Crow lives in, but set it in the 40s in a sci-fi type movie. Great. So I will say the one thing, because this is an original ideal by Alex Proyas, this is his ideal, but the one thing that does not age well on this is they have a Neil Gaiman review of Dark City. So that's a special feature on here. He's like Neil Gaiman is reviewing Dark City, so that's it's one thing that did not quite age well on the special feature wise. But
I'm sure that'll be left off the next release.
I guarantee they will. Warner Brothers will not put that on the next one if it ever does get a 4K. That'll be gone. Yeah, Kiefer does book in the movie, like sort of like flatliners in this movie as well. Kiefer Sutherland is really good in this too, as this really weird, creepy doctor who's like got a wonky eye and like, what the hell is he on about? And the voice he's going and it's like, what is this guy all about? He's really good in this movie. He's really good. And it's interesting to see Rufus. Speaking of A Knight's Tale, because he's in The Knight's Tale, he's the bad guy in The Knight's Tale. It's pretty funny to hear him to an American accent when I believe he's either Australian or British one. I can't remember, but it was pretty funny. He don't talk a whole lot, so I guess he didn't have to work too much on the American accent. But it's kind of funny to hear him and do an American accent. Anyways, there you have it. That's my final pick of the night. Highly recommend it. I almost wanted to watch it again after I watched it. It was pretty good. I hadn't seen it in years. But that's all. That's what I got for you guys tonight. That's all I got. So to you, Tom, if you're ready for your, I guess, is this your final pick of the night?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It's up to you.
You know what Viet Cong rat eats?
Oh.
Warm-blooded young American. Hold the mail. Thank you very much. Graveyard shift.
Yes.
But I got the 4K.
Ooh, I forgot that came out.
Yeah.
So I gotta get that. I forgot.
All the same special features Kino got in. And it's got, actually, it's kind of a, because I know Kino switched over to like a cheaper company or something like that, I heard. But this is one of their nicer slip covers. It's actually got like a nice mat to it.
It looks cool. It does look cool.
Yeah, so there, and then of course I flipped. It's got reversible art on the inside. I flipped it over to that.
Yeah.
Speaking of having both soundtracks, this does have both the stereo and the other. This has a killer stereo soundtrack on it. But yeah, no, this is one of those like guilty pleasures of the time because it's a creature feature. You get a big bat rat creature in it, and you know me, and I love my monster movies. It's basically great. Jaws in a factory.
It's great. The guy that runs the factory too, so good.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. Steve Mott, yeah, the guy who's he just chews the fucking scenery.
He does.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, God, he's amazing in it. Brad Dourif.
Yep.
I mean, the only thing that sucks is he's out of the movie so soon.
That's true.
Because, yeah, and it really sucks when the director's like, oh, God, I could have made a whole movie just with his character. It's like, yeah, please.
Yeah. It would have been great.
Yeah. No, it's a great film. If anything, like the supporting cast is compared to them.
They're like the best too, yeah.
Yeah, those two just steal the fucking show. No, it's a great little story. What's funny is it's based on a 17-page short story by Stephen King. So it's actually very much expanded upon and reconfigured, and obviously the characters are all expanded out, and the whole idea is expanded out. And in the short story, they don't really explain what the creature is exactly. So they had kind of a little room to improvise here, and I like the idea of it being like this big bat creature. I think it adds a coolness.
It does.
And just the way this movie is shot, and when you find out that it was only shot for $10 million in 1989,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and it made, oh God, how much did it make at the box office? I'm gonna say I know it did pretty well.
It's one of the better sellers that kept releasing multiple times. So.
Well, that was funny because the first thing Stephen King said after he saw it, he goes, well, it'll be a big hit on video. Actually, I guess it only made 11 million at the box office, but shit, for a horror movie at that time. I mean, 10 million was probably actually pretty expensive for a horror movie at that time. But this is the same team that made Pet Sematary and Pet Sematary 2, so it was kind of them allowed to run wild with some money and have some fun in this really cool environment. You can feel it, the heat and the grime and the smell of the place. It's great. And it's all build sets, I guess, except for the exteriors. So it's like really neat how they were able to pull all this film together with the rats and everything. And I think they said they had like 10,000 rats, I think, for the movie. Like,
nothing beats Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, no, I think they got more of that, but no, it's a good film. It's a fun film.
Andrew Divoff's in it, the Wishmaster. He's great in it too.
Yes, that's true. Yes, and he's pretty good in it too. Yeah. He almost got the lead from what the director was saying, but
really?
Yeah, because he's also in, what was it, Another 48 Hours or one of them. Yeah, and I think that's where he said he saw him or whatever. But he even pulled some people over from Another 48 Hours, from what it sounded like, and he also pulled in a lot of his people because he worked. The director Ralph Singleton. I guess he worked on Cagney and Lacey for years. So he pulled a lot of his team in, because the whole thing that was the catch was because he got the script, and the script was written by John Esposito. And John Esposito was really young at the time, and he did it completely unsolicited. And so they really liked how he expanded the story with all the characters and everything. And so they said, they took it to Paramount, and they're like, how would you like to have the next Stephen King movie for Halloween? Now, you guys got to remember, this is right after they gave him Pet Sematary and Pet Sematary 2, which were pretty profitable. So like, would we?
Definitely.
So he gave him you got to remember, at this time, this is pre-digital stuff. So he only gave himself like an 8-month window to get this fucking movie shot. But it works because it's really nice and concentrated. And the second unit handled a lot more of the effects shots because, those were 13, 14-hour days for that kind of shit. But they pulled it all together, and it works, and it's a nice little pot boiler or whatever you'd want to call it as far as how it works, because you don't really get a lot of glimpses of the monster till the end when you see it in its kind of its almost full glory, but you still never really see it in its full glory. You kind of see it the most when it's basically being chopped up by the machine, but no, it's just a fun film. The 4K scan, I think this is an older scan. I think this scan has been around for a while. I'm not even 100% sure that even though I looked it up and it says that the Shout Factory one is not a new scan, I almost wonder if it's not the same scan as this.
You think it is? You think it is?
Because it's obviously the Shout Factory one's an older Blu-ray, but it looked pretty good. So I'm like, I'm not so sure that this isn't a scan of the negative, even though the thing I read said it wasn't, but I could be wrong.
Right.
It was just a pretty good scan at that time, and the scan here looks good. I mean, it's not like anything to write home about, but you can tell it was not manipulated at all. It looks pretty good. In fact, I would almost compare this to a lot of the Vinegar Syndrome scans. It just looks like an older scan. It doesn't look like it has the resolution of some newer scans. But you can tell they didn't manipulate it. It doesn't have a bunch of like DNR or anything like that.
Right.
So it's got a nice grain to it, nice structure. The scenes don't, they're not doing anything to try and manipulate anything. Some of the darker scenes have a lot more grain than the others. So it looks good.
I need to get it. I forgot it.
It has a 0%.
Yeah.
Fuck people.
This
is a fun ass movie.
Man. It is. I was gonna say, does anybody really trust Rotten Tomatoes anyway?
It's
seriously,
graveyard shift.
It is a fun movie. It truly is like a fun, good creature
You got a problem?
movie.
I ain't got a problem.
Screw critics, man. Critics don't get everything right. Who cares? Who cares? I don't know. Have you ever seen Night Flyer?
I know of it, but I've never actually watched it.
Oh, that's a good one. That was an HBO. I think it was just you would definitely like the vampire design too. Speaking of like a giant rat type looking thing.
Yeah.
The design is great on it. It's a very different vampire design. But Miguel Fierro is in it. Fierro, am I saying his name right? Fierro, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. From RoboCop. Great movie. It was an HBO or Showtime original movie. So I think it's got a DVD maybe, but it's very, very hard to find. Very hard to find.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah.
No, it's a fun film. It's nice and tight, only an hour and 26 minutes long. It's got plenty of gore, lots of effects, interesting characters. I mean, what else more could you ask for? It feels like a Stephen King movie. You got somebody with a thick ass Maine accent.
Yep. It's got that small town vibe, all these weird people in this one area and this creature. I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome movie. I love it.
Well, and it's cool about how it all is set up and what it's all about and where they're trying to figure out where these rats are coming in. And it all takes place over 4th of July week break while these guys are making extra money cleaning out the basement of this cotton mill, basically, is the setup. And it's overtaken by rats. And they don't know it, but there's this huge creature and their colleagues have been coming up missing, or however you want to say it. So,
Oh, it's a shame, but it just makes me think about Brad Dourif's character in that movie.
What happened to the last guy that had this job? He didn't work out.
Yeah. It's so good. It's like it does have that creepiness feel like when they're down there and you hear the noises and stuff. And I miss those type of movies. I miss those days of those movies. Stephen King's such a douchebag now.
I know, right? Yeah. He used to be able to write some bangers. Well, and this one's cool because like it's kind of the opposite of most Stephen King films, right? Because 9 times out of 10, you're taking 1,000 pages and trying to compress it down to 2 hours, maybe 3 if it's a miniseries.
Yeah.
And here you take what is a 17-page story, which I mean, if you probably look at that if you take it directly from page to screen, would be perfect probably for like a Tales from the Crypt episode length.
Yeah.
Right. But now you have to expand that into 90 minutes at least, and they do a pretty good job here, and it doesn't overstay its welcome, right? It doesn't overdo everything. Yeah, there's a little melodrama involved, but you need that to kind of to care about some of the characters and know who they are, where they're coming from, and sure, some of them are a little by the book cookie cutter, because I mean, even the main character, from my understanding, is kind of like completely revisioned from what he is in the book or his in the book, and then you have like Brad Dourif's character, which is just pure chef's kiss, and I doubt that's what's in the book either. So it's my understanding, because it's been years since I read it, but in the short story, it's mainly just that night. Like it's just that night they go in for the cleaning, and it's how they're dealing with the rats, and they all getting picked off one by one, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's just like, and that's all like.
If you like Alien, if you like movies like that, you'll like this.
Oh, big time, big time. And that shows you like the creativity they had back in the day too, because like they, like you said, they took a 17-page story and made this hour and a half like movie. It's just incredible. It's just a good old fashioned creature feature with that old school Stephen King vibe before he became all weird.
Well, he's always been weird, but at least then he was creative.
Yeah, the last book of his I read was rough. It's been a while since I read one, and yes, I've seen Maximum Overdrive. Yes, that movie is good. Most people don't think it is, but it is.
It's fun in a bad, cheesy way.
Yes, yes.
And if anything, it shows why that anybody who thinks that like, oh, the guy who wrote it and created it should be the director.
Right. Nope. Especially when
this shows you how you need somebody to adapt somebody's work, especially somebody as batshit crazy as Stephen King.
Yeah.
So, especially in his cocaine heyday. Like, because we're never gonna see that scene from it on. Like, it should be just deleted from the book.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. Really? It doesn't even really need to be there. It's pointless. It's just dumb.
It is. It's. I don't even know what he was thinking. I don't. The man was nuts.
Sometimes with him, but he had some weird stuff back then. He would, and that's not the only one, but that's probably the worst one. But
yeah, that's the worst one.
I mean, if you stop and think about it, Carrie's all about a girl getting her fucking period for her first period.
Yeah.
It really, like, think about it. Step back and look at it.
No, you're right. It is. You're right.
Sure, she's not like 12 or whatever, but that's the whole point. Is she's a little late bloomer. But like, yeah, it's still the point. It's like all revolving around her period and her having,
yeah. Here, have a Midol.
Psychic powers.
What did you say? A Midol.
Yeah, that movie would have been fixed with a Midol. There you go.
I'm dead. I'm so dead.
That movie could have been fixed instantly with some chocolate and Midol.
Maybe a 50 spot.
Yeah.
Oh,
shit.
It's good.
No, it's fun. I recommend it. It's a good price from Kino. That's the one great thing about Kino is they may not go out of their way to add anything new to it necessarily, but you do get, a good price, decent scan. Actually, you know what? Their Blu-ray looks a little bit better than the old Blu-ray, so it might be a different scan now that I think about it, because I did compare it with that a little bit, because all the special features are on the Blu-ray, not the 4K.
Right.
That's my only complaint, if anything. But yeah. Because Kino's kind of hit and miss with that. Sometimes they'll do just a Blu-ray only. Like I got Hitari, and it's only a Blu-ray, or a 4K, I mean. And it doesn't have a Blu-ray with it, I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
And everything's on the 4K. But then sometimes they'll do both, so I don't know.
Sometimes
it might be a rights thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes there's a rights thing where they're allowed to release the 4K, but they can't release the Blu-ray because somebody else has got the Blu-ray rights. So
that
sometimes,
would make sense.
Yeah, it happened with that Night of the Hunter. Chris Criterion's got the Blu-ray rights, but Kino's got the 4K rights.
I never did look at Heat of the Night. That might only be a 4K.
Yeah.
That's another Criterion one.
Yeah,
you're right. It is. Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
That's probably why. So what's up, Snow Dog? Glad to see you in the chat. Got to have you back on again soon.
Yeah. Yeah. The only difference. Oh, I take that back. It is missing something from the Shout Factory. So it all depends on how important you think the radio spot is to you. That's one thing I don't know why that
just the radio
Kino didn't carry over. Yeah.
Maybe they felt like it wasn't important or something to them, or I don't know.
Or it had something that cost a little extra. I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
There's a couple Kinos I forgot was coming out on 4K, so I need to go pick them up.
Because from my memory, a lot of the times it's Kino and Shout who usually do have the radio spots if they can get them.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I may or may not pull a lot of radio spots from those releases for Mead Radio.
I mean, for the Doubly Impact though, what are you talking about?
That one I actually I found, but yeah. I was just like, that thing is hilarious. I was like,
that is good.
Double impact.
Double
Dos
impact.
andan.
Though I
They
do wish
killed their parents. Oh no.
no. That is a cute one. Though I do wish, like with in some cases, like with the one that like the Assault of the Party Nerds I showed earlier, I do wish in some cases they would give you like the CD soundtrack. I know they've done that with
Yeah, I like
a few movies here and there, but like I mean, that would be a nice little treat. Like if like they're not going to be able to give you the Blu-ray with it, maybe give you the CD. You know, that might be a little something that would be pretty cool.
I mean, well, here's my only bitch about the conversation. Not a lot of people have cassette players, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I technically have one. It's buried in a closet somewheres. Or maybe it's out somewhere. I have to look, but yeah, it works as far as I know. But yeah, like it's not the most convenient way of giving us something. A CD, at least, you know, you can find a way to, or even if you put it like on it, you have it on a cassette, but then have like a little, like memory stick with the actual digital files or something on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can actually conveniently listen to it.
No, I do think that would be a nice little thing, especially, I mean, in some cases, I mean, not for everything, but in like some cases, if you can't give the Blu-ray, maybe give the CD. But then again, music rights are a little more difficult than certain things. So like, luckily
I've
guy,
had a few releases that have the CD with them. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like recently, Rumpelstiltskin and stuff like that.
Television. That's because they got that. They got that.
Did they also do the final countdown? Because that's another one I have that has the soundtrack, and so does
the television. That they might have. I'd have to look that one up.
Severin did the Count Dracula one. That one comes with it.
Yeah, I got the Severin. It's not Count Dracula, but it's the what is it? I can't remember the name of the movie, but it also comes with the soundtrack as well too. Oh, Frankenstein versus Dracula.
Oh,
yeah. I got that from Severin. It's got the CD soundtrack too. So,
yeah, that's all I really had. I got a few watched this week anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I did get. I mean, even though it was only 3 picks, it was 4 movies. I did watch 4 movies because I watched both of the Assault of the Party Nerds and Dark City. Man, it was just like I really got into that, and it was really good. I hadn't seen that in so long. It was such a good movie. And then Get Shorty for Gene Hackman and. Wanted to watch some other Gene Hackman stuff. It just got away from me. But yeah, I hope we gave you guys some good picks to look at tonight. I hope we gave you little short show. Hopefully we'll get them. I mean, don't get me wrong. About an hour and a half, 2 hours is great. 3 hours is I start running a little on fumes. So, but it is fun when we do get our 3-hour shows when we're all here and have a good conversation. So it is fun. But I appreciate you, Tom. Thank you for always coming on and hanging out with me. If you got anything you want to plug for your channel or anything,
just Midnight's Edge After Dark and Midnight's Edge. If you haven't checked them out already,
no, I need a haircut badly. I'm starting to get like the JD Vance.
You have hair.
Yeah,
be glad you have hair.
It's going away. Sadly, it's going away.
So enjoy your last hurrah.
Yeah. So
one more time.
One more time. Yes. But no, I appreciate you, Tom, as always, hanging out here. I appreciate y'all, everybody out in the chat, everybody at home. Hopefully we'll start getting some guests here. I tell you what, you put out a signal call for new people and nobody answers. That's sad.
Well, I think it's because we're looking for direct, like a portion of people. I'm sure a good portion of our audience would love to participate, and that's not a problem. But we like to have that counterbalance with a slightly younger, panelists. So that's been a bit tougher. So
someone we can mold. I mean, the last guy we molded went off to college, and now he's trying to become a director. Damn it.
Yeah. The other guy was just already set in his ways.
Yeah, he was a little older.
Subway too much. A little too cucked out to Subway.
But I appreciate y'all.
It's like, you coming? Yeah, I'm coming. Wait a minute. Subway's calling.
Yeah, Subway's calling. Gotta
like,
go
make married.
The sandwiches.
Jesus. Yeah.
Let's see if we can get the video to play because it did not play the intro apparently. So let's try it. If not, we're just going to end the show. But I appreciate you guys out there and at home watching, everybody in chat. Thank you guys. Chat was awesome. Thank you, Tom. As always, like, share, and subscribe. And I will be live tomorrow as long as everything goes smoothly with writer, director, and actor Richard Gabby talking about the new release of Assault of the Party Nerds. So be aware on that, and I'll catch you guys then. As always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.